The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon say, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious.
Because the Lord is going to restore everything. You're going to have a total different vibration on the earth, a total different smell. You're not going to be walking down the street and smell shit and piss, you know, and no foul odors or nothing like that, because the lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and it's going to be a whole total different vibration. You know, you're going to see the aura and how things are going to change and how elevated things are going to be. Our senses are going to be heightened. You know, everything about us is going to be glorified.
For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build, and another inhabit. They shall not plant, and another eat. Whereas the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord.
The Lord said that on the Heavenly Father's right hand there are pleasures evermore. And it says that I have not seen, neither ear heard the things which the Lord hath prepared for them that wait for him. You know, there's a whole another work of greatness that awaits us when the kingdom of heaven is established. It's not seen in this society. In this society, we only see carnal things that reason offers in this society. But when the kingdom is established, the Lord is going to open us up to a whole nother world, you know, of pleasure, of knowledge, of wisdom, understanding, you know, can't even be put into words, you know, because our imagination only goes but so far.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing the word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into this morning, you know, with this edition of Morning News and Prophecy is NWO classrooms. Okay, and one thing we know about this devil, you know, that he's thinking, you know, generations ahead. Okay, you see, what we have to understand. You know, the society that we're dealing with now was engineered, all right, decades ago. Okay, young niggas and, you know, alphabet, okay, Everyone's, this hyper individualism, addicted to, you know, uh, this technology, the phones, the apps, the social media. Well, this society was engineered decades ago. Okay. Now we're seeing the fruits of the engineering that was done, all right, decades ago. Okay. It's this Russian, KJB, all right, ex KJB, KGB agent, which is the equivalent to the American CIA. Okay. Well, he spoke about mind manipulation, and he said it takes about 12 to 13 years, okay, to change the perception of a society, okay, through mind manipulation. Okay. Now, how long are most people in school? If you throw in kindergarten, all right, and first through 12th grade, that's 12 to 13 years of people being in school, being indoctrinated. Okay. So that's why each, decade, the earth changes gradually. Okay. Because the devil, okay, deals with gradualism. Okay. That's why if you go back from the 60s until now, and you see how drastically things have changed, from cultural norms, what's accepted, okay, what's the norm now, all right, things that wasn't normal in the 60s are now normal now, okay, things that wouldn't even been accepted, in the 70s and 80s, well, this the norm now, okay, because the devil deals with gradualism, okay, if a brother want to put that, you know, definition on the comment board, all right. As a matter of fact, I might grab it real quick. Let's deal with gradualism. Gradualism. Just a quick uh, definition. Okay, well, that's one of the tactics of Esau. As the scriptures say, we are not ignorant, you know, of Satan's devices. Okay, so when you go to gradualism, just quick definition. So gradualism says a policy of gradual reform rather than sudden change or revolution. Okay. So this devil, has been using gradual steps, okay, implementing his new world order. All right. And what we're going to watch in this video, is now he's okay within the classroom and he's making, all right, and a change in the way children learn. Okay. So this devil uses, all right, as it says, a policy of gradual reform rather than sudden change or revolution. Because certain things, if he made a sudden change, it would be too much, okay, of a revolt against it, but he's able to just incorporate small, all right, doses, okay, of his agenda, okay, and after some time, all right, his agenda is fully incorporated, okay, into society, all right. So, this devil, all right, deals with things in generations. When he first started, feminism, he was thinking generations on down the line. When he first started, gangsterism and glorifying, street culture, he was thinking generations on down the line. Okay. And this is why we're at the point that we're at. And it seems like, it happened overnight, but it was a gradual thing, gradual acceptance, because it's easier to get people to accept gradual change, all right, than to just spring something on them. Okay. And this is what this devil deals with. All right. So what we're going to see now, like I said, I got a few videos I want to get into, but let's get into uh, a few precepts. Okay. And this is why the scriptures liken this man what to a serpent, because the characteristics of a serpent is patient, is hidden in plain sight. A lot of times you're around the serpent and don't even know it. Okay, because they know how to camouflage, and this man has infiltrated, all sectors of society, education, okay, agriculture, all right, you know, uh, the work all right, industries and tech and everything that you can think of. This man has infiltrated, okay, and has gradually corrupted it, okay, and now he's steering all these different corporations into this one, all right, world order that he wants to bring to society, okay. So let's get a few precepts, all right, that the scriptures describe this devil, and I've been in the A&P Bible pretty tough lately. It got some gems in it. So when you go into Genesis 3:1, all right, you see, it says, now the serpent was more crafty, subtle, skilled in deceit. Okay, skilled in deceit. All right, and it's beautiful because the brother, all right, the beloved brother Bayon Yasha just brought that out in his lesson on how this is, Esau's. All right, this is one of his traits. This is what he thrives in deception. Okay, this is what this nigga excels in. All right, if Esau was a creative player, his deception would be on 109. Okay, because he thrives in deception. You see, and that's one of his gifts he was given. Okay, within his rulership, because the foundation of Esau's rulership is deception. This is why it's important to him to keep the deception going, because this is the foundation of his rulership. He needs you to be deceived in order for his empire to work. You see, and this is why the prophets is such a threat to this man's empire, because the prophets are tearing down the deception, the strongholds. Okay, which these strongholds, all right, make his empire function. Okay, even when you go into that movie Clone Tyrone, which the beloved Elder Apostle Kai says is a documentary, which is true. Okay, but when that Edomite showed up, all right, he said, "Look, we need you. We need you to be in this." Pretty much, he told Jake, "Look, we need y'all to function within these characters for our society to work." Okay, so he needs people to function in deception for his society to work. The way people are dependent on the grid, okay, dependent, consumerism, all this deception. You see, capitalism, all this deception, everything that makes the society work is rooted in deception, which this man is very skillful at. Okay, so as the scriptures say, all right, you're going back to the serpent, which Esau, all right, is the serpent reincarnated. Now it's a dragon that runs the earth. Okay, through deception. You see, it says now the serpent was more crafty, subtle, skilled in deceit, all right, than any living creature of the field, which is all the other nations, which the Lord had made. And the serpent, all right, Satan, okay, said to the woman, can it really be that the Most High said you shall not eat from any tree of the garden? Okay, which speaking of, these other nations and these philosophies of the other nations, which these nations from, were into other ways outside of the righteousness of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, because their breath was only given to Adam. True wisdom was given to Adam. Okay, which he represents what the beginning of the lineage of the sons of God. Okay, which we know this was Yahweh Shai. Okay, and we know the serpent, what was he into? Witchcraft, dark magic. Okay, and what this devil is trying to do, he's trying to establish a new world order. Okay, under this dark magic and technology and witchcraft and mysticism and all this, madness, quantum genesis, which I did a lesson on that. Um, it should be, I think tonight it should go up. But anyway, going back to the point, okay, this devil, he's all about operating outside of the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. And now he wants to establish their way as a permanent way in the earth. Okay? Through technology, man. That's why he's trying to roll out a system of complete control. Because that's what it's about with this devil. It's about him establishing a system of complete control. Now, I labeled this lesson NWO classroom. All right, because now what we're going to see as we go here is now AI is beginning to replace, okay, the teachers, okay, and now this gives this devil, okay, more reach to manipulate, all right, and there's and the adults are catching hell, okay, because hell, the adults is working more hours now, and that was the whole purpose of getting the mother out the house, you know, that way the system can raise children, okay. This whole school system of sending your child to a class, all right, to a school, a public school, okay, any school, you know, sending your child to a school away from the house where that child is being indoctrinated, all right, with the ways of the empire, okay, not the morals of the family, all right, but the morals of the empire or the lack thereof, okay. The empire is telling you who your heroes are, all right, which are truly villains, you know, Christopher Columbus and George Washington, and you see Andrew Jackson. You learn about these niggas like they're these, you know, honorable men. Okay, they teach you about the Greek Empire, Alexander, and you know these different Caesars. With these guys were goddamn wicked, man. The scriptures say when these men came in power, wickedness multiplied. But you're taught these men in the way of honor. Okay, so that whole thing of getting the woman to be in the workforce, that way they can tax, you know, two people in the house now, and then your children is left to be indoctrinated by them. You know, and now it's way worse because now you just got, you know, a lot of, you know, dysfunctional households and single mothers, and now, you know, people are working 60, 70 hours a week, and you know, so the children are being raised by a tablet. You know, the tablet keep this little nigga entertained, so you keep this nigga with a tablet, you know. So it's a system to where, you know, you have the system just getting more and more control of the children, which that's put them more and more control of the generation to come. You see, they already have if you're 21 and up, they've already counted you out. Okay, they're planning, okay, a society where you don't exist anymore. You're gonna die off. That's why they pour so much into, all right, these younger children, you know, with the Disney, with this and that, and the tablet and this app and that app and this, okay? Because they're planning on you to die off. They're planning on a society where you and your old way of thinking dies off, okay? So let's go here, you know. So lucky for the long intro, but let's go here, you know. And this was a video that was uploaded by the beloved brother Yaquab, the Hopeful Lake 3. All right. So yeah, so this is the AI takeover, dismantling the school system. Okay, so this is what's going on in the schools, and they're prepping these children for a new world order society. Okay, this is what they're doing. They're prepping the next generation for a new world order society. All right. Like I say, they look at us as old, washed up, okay, and out of there. Okay, they're preparing what's next. Okay, so let's play this, you know, and we'll go from there. Uh,
Pioneering education's new frontier. Every click, every keystroke at Austin's Alpha School is guided by artificial intelligence.
Right now is considered, of course, school time.
Students like 8-year-old Alina Boyce spend only 2 hours in the morning on science, math, and reading, working at their own speed, using personalized AI-driven software.
Right now, at my age level, I'm supposed to be 4th grade.
Okay.
But science, I'm on like 6th, 7th grade.
You are.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see if you can slingshot this.
Adults in the classroom are called guides, not teachers, and earn 6-figure salaries. Their job is to encourage and motivate.
Can an algorithm replace the expertise of someone like yourself?
I don't think it's replacing. I think it's just working in tandem.
Afternoons are different. Students tackle projects teaching financial literacy and public speaking. Life skills, founder Mackenzie Price says, are invaluable.
What advantage does the learning that you're employing here have over traditional schools?
There is such a huge advantage when students can be met at the level and pace of learning that is right for them.
Price was not an educator before starting the school in 2014. There are now 16 campuses and big backers. The education secretary visited last month.
You're turning the learning over to a laptop. What about the importance of an educator in a child's life?
So our guides are not teaching academic content, but they are connecting. In fact, every week, every one of our students gets 30 minutes of one-on-one concentrated time with their guides. And during the workshops in the afternoons, they are connecting and interacting in a group experience.
That progress isn't cheap. Tuition at Austin's Alpha School starts at $40,000 a year.
How is this applicable to standard education?
We recognize that there is a huge mountain of challenges that come in a large public system. So what I hope that Alpha can be is an example, an inspiration, and help families understand that this model of education.
Now, real quick, I just looked it up. And basically what they're doing, this is nothing but a little witch school. You know, I don't know if you brothers familiar with I know it's super popular. I know you brothers, some of you sisters familiar with the Harry Potter. You know, it was a school for witches. And this is basically what this is, Alpha, you know, artificial intelligence. So they said the teachers are called guides, you know. So I just looked it up in the chat real quick. You know, what is a guide? All right. Well, basically, this is just a little school for witches, man. All right. This is Babylon the Great. You know, they're training the children up to be little magi's and witches, man. Okay. So let's go here real quick because I just looked it up because they said the teachers in these schools are called guides. All right. That's something that hold on. Salakia, because I got a few things pulled up. But let's go here to what is a guide. A guide, all right, dealing with witchcraft, man. Okay. All right. It says in witchcraft, a guide can mean a few different things depending on tradition or belief system you're referring to. Broadly, it's a being, force, or mentor that offers wisdom, protection, and direction in a spiritual, in a witch's spiritual or magical practice. Here are the main types of guides people, all right, talk about. Spirit guides. These are non-physical entities believed to assist witches in their spiritual or magical work. They might appear as ancestors, deities, angels, nature spirits, or animal energies. Some practitioners connect with them through meditation, divination, and dreams. Spirit guides are thought to help with intuition, protection, and learning magical skills. Okay? Familiar spirits in folklore, familiars are spiritual companions, sometimes taking animal form that aid a witch in their craft. Modern witches often view familiars more symbolically as a source of intuitive or emotional connection rather than literal, literal spirits. Historically, these could be cats, toads, birds, or other animals associated with energy. Now it says human guides or mentors. Okay, human guides or mentors, a teacher, coven leader, or elder who helps a beginner learn rituals, ethics, and tradition. In modern witchcraft or Wicca, this can also mean a mentor in a coven or a experienced practitioner who provides guidance or oversight. Okay, and they said these teachers are called guides in these in this artificial in these AI schools, man. Okay, this is nothing but, all right, a center of witchcraft, man. All right, it's just a witchcraft coven. Okay, and this is what he's incorporating into society, man. Okay, he's really now in your face training up witches. All right, from the youth, man. Okay, and see, he deals with that, train up a child in the way that it should go, and when he is older, he shall not depart. I believe that's in Proverbs. Okay, if a brother, want to bring that out, train up a child in the way that he should go. Okay, yep, that's heavy too. And we're gonna go back to the video, and we're gonna go into AI companion apps too. Okay, which this is likened to a guide as well. When you go into, okay, the definition of a guide and what this AI companion apps are supposed to do. But now these apps, and they're gonna present it like this, like it's this great thing. Okay. So yeah, let's go here. All right, Mr. Brother Kazak Bun Yahweh, the Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way, all right, he should go, and when he is old, okay, he would not depart from it. And they're doing it on the left hand side because we're supposed to do this on the right hand side, because the mothers in our custom, the mothers were the first teachers. Okay, that's why women have this this nature, this natural instinct to pay attention to detail. Okay, because they were the developers and the teachers of the children. Okay, they will put the spirit on the father. All right, the father will have, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Al Shah on him, and that spirit will be on the woman, and that woman would forward that spirit to the children. Okay, and developing those children in righteousness, training them up in the way that they should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. And you've seen that dealing with the 7 Hebrew brothers. All right, how they were so, unmovable, for righteousness. All right, where they came from their father, putting that spirit on their mother, and their mother putting the spirit on them. Okay, and that's the way that education was supposed to go. Okay, but this is nothing but training up witches, man. This is nothing but open witchcraft. Okay, and just like the brother put as well, we're gonna let it play some more. Okay, this is the brother Kazakba and Yahweh, Isaiah 19:3 says, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to their idols and to their charmers, and to them, okay, that have familiar spirits, okay, and to the wizards." Okay, and this is becoming the culture of America. Okay, this is Babylon the Great, and Babylon the Great was known for what? The Neo-Babylonian Empire was known for their magi's, their astrologers, their prognosticators. Okay, and this is what the youth is being trained up in. Okay, this is enchantment on a whole nother level. Okay, so let's play this some more.
Education is something that can work.
While the school says its students test in the top 1% on standardized assessments, AI models have been met with skepticism by educators who say they're unproven. Though there's no disputing students like Smith Adrian are engaged.
So far, you think what?
Amazing.
Reshaping learning with artificial intelligence at the head of the class.
So a lot of teachers are adjusting to the big change of AI in the classroom. In April, the president released an executive order pushing for AI and student and teacher engagement. And in San Francisco, they just rolled out the first alpha school, AI school, where students would be learning solely from an AI software. There are a lot of companies that are pushing towards the integration of AI in schools. It's also been said that the goal is to teach students about data, AI, and use that as an opportunity for them to fast track right into the workforce. Teachers would be more so facilitators, guides, mentors, and in some cases, cutting down time for schooling. Some felt like this would replace a lot of teachers assistants. Concerned that students won't be able to develop their cognitive skills as they won't be able to interact with others. In some cases, that peer-to-peer interaction, it will all be based off of a student working with their AI instructor, which is an individual process. There's also been concern as it relates to certain districts or school systems having the funding for the top of the line resources to give to their students in lower income areas. How will those students be able to compete with the other students or even be on the same page as the other students? They're encouraging teachers not to leave, but to adapt, to get trained. Let me know how you all feel about this.
Has AI already replaced your child's human public school teacher? That's what's happening in Houston, Texas, and a lot of parents don't even know about it. I didn't find out till halfway through the semester when I got a letter home encouraging parents to have their kids spend more time with their robot teacher at home. One of the programs HISD is using is called Amira, and it differs from previous educational software in that the actual stories your child is reading are being generated on the spot without any human supervision by an AI. The reasons to be concerned are enormous, considering that some of the top creators of AI have admitted they don't understand how it works and have no real control over it, requiring them to outsource the labor of filtering out the tons of extremely violent, traumatic, disturbing, and pornographic content that AI chatbots generate to workers in the global south. But hey, let's trust Amira. I mean, look at her. She's a cute, young, attractive Latina teacher. Or maybe child. I don't know, but she looks harmless, right? As soon as I found out, I went to my parents' group text and I was like, y'all, do you know they're using AI to teach our kids? And I told them about Amira, but they went to the website and they looked at the research and it sounds so good. They've got these slick graphs that show bars going up. But in my former life, friends, I was actually a reading interventionist teacher for 10 years, ended up being director of reading intervention curriculum for a large charter school district. And I have a currently very unused master's in public school administration, and I'm a certified principal in the state of Texas. And let me tell you a little something about Amira's educational research. It's meaningless garbage. Oh, when they say what Amira's working on with your kids, it is the right things according to the science of reading. But when you read the actual research, the first gigantic red flag is that the research was paid for by Amira Learning, rendering it completely unreliable and meaningless. And even more obviously, all the study is comparing is users with non-users, meaning they were comparing kids getting the reading instruction with Amira to kids not getting the reading instruction with Amira, or maybe at all. They're not comparing learning with Amira to learning from a qualified human teacher providing direct instruction in phonics and vocabulary and critical thinking. They're just comparing amount of time on Amira to what? We don't know. Maybe nothing. Any educational software, any curriculum out there has a slick website with nice looking graphs, with lines going up, with bar graphs showing progress. And most of those educational companies, the research is complete garbage. But a lot of principals, and in this case, superintendents imposed upon us by a hostile state takeover, don't have the learning and know-how to look past a sales pitch and actually read the research to see if it has any merit. If you still don't trust me, ask your kids what it's like to work with Amira, because I did as soon as I heard about it, and she sighed and was like, oh my God, it's so annoying. The stories are so boring. Sometimes it gets stuck on one topic and it repeats it again and again and again. And sometimes I know I'm saying the right question, but it doesn't accept it and it keeps asking the same question over and over again.
And that's the enchantment, repetition is part of the enchantment, man. And all this is doing is just putting demons, okay, and enchantments on the children on another level. Okay, that's why, this garbage music, okay, is played over and over again, to put enchantments, man. Okay, it's not about true education, and training the child up, okay, in practical wisdom. It's about enchanting them, okay? So this AI, all right, takeover of the classroom is just grooming, okay, the new world order citizen that he wants, you know, and he wants the new world order citizen enchanted on another level, okay. That's what this is about. You see, like she said, she didn't even know her child was on it until she came home, so she had been on it. So they're not telling, you know, the parents anything, okay, because they don't look at the children as belonging to the parents. They're products of the state. You know, like I say, they count you out. They know your generation is gonna pass. Okay. You see, so they account the children for themselves, man. Okay. So let's let it play some more. Yeah, grooming, you know. It's all about grooming.
And the teacher comes over and the teacher can't even figure out what the right answer is supposed to be. And I was like, yeah, that's what dealing with an AI is like. Have you ever needed to ask a question or been confused and needed to get through to a human, but you're stuck talking to a freaking AI? It's maddening. And our kids are being enforced to endure that for hours every week on Amira, on another AI-powered test prep site, Summit K-12, and on Zern, which isn't as disturbing because I don't think it's AI. It's just generating math problems. But still, that's a lot of screen time adding up. Our teachers in our classrooms, instead of, reading children a book written by a human and discussing it with them and teaching them to think critically, are instead being turned into IT people to help your kids troubleshoot and navigate the extremely frustrating, unsupervised AIs that are now teaching them. Do you remember being a kid and the first time you read like a chapter book in elementary school? Do you remember? Maybe it was Charlotte's Web, maybe it was Stuart Little, and you all went on that journey together with your teacher, with all the kids in the class. Our kids aren't getting that anymore. In fact, Mike Miles has removed books almost completely from the curriculum because books are too woke and liberal. The school libraries were all shut down and turned into technology centers. The classroom libraries have been removed from the classrooms. And instead, your child gets the Taco Bell drive-through chatbot. What can you do? Well, no matter where you are in the country or even the world right now, I would ask your administrators and teachers specifically if there are any AI-powered learning tools being used to teach your children. And if there are, I would strongly make it known that you do not permit your child to be taught by AI. You can use the articles I screenshotted earlier to make your case. Or you can bring up that increasingly chatbot use is driving people into AI psychosis, and there are a number of cases where AI chatbots have encouraged children to themselves. I did, and I got permission for my child to read a book written by a human during the time that the rest of the class is doing Amira. The public libraries in Houston, at least, are still open, and we go get her a stack of books every week. If your child is too young to read a book on their own, I would insist on human instruction and raise a stink at your school. Also, today is election day in Houston. Vote for the trustees who are pushing back against Mike Miles's agenda and hold our board members and trustees to account to rejecting AI in the classroom. Those approved candidates are Maria Benson, Michael McDonough, and Audrey Knapp. If you weren't going to vote today, go vote at least for them.
And ultimately, the solution to this whole system has to be destroyed. Okay, if a brother can post that in the book of Second Ezra chapter 4, okay, verses 28 by 31, Second Ezra chapter 4 verses 28 through 31. If a brother can post that. But the ultimate solution is this whole place just has to be rooted up. All right, voting ain't gonna matter. All them niggas corrupt. All right, no matter what box you check, them niggas gonna do the same thing because this is an agenda that's way above. All right, your district supervisor. Okay, this is way above that nigga. Okay, you see. At the end of the day, the agenda of the least gonna go forth as long as these niggas are in power. Okay, so the solution is to uproot. Okay, the power source. All right, which is the elites. All right, and this is their agenda. you know. And Patrick Wood said, you know, hey, this is the year of the robot. You know, he said it, and he said next year, 2026, you know, prepare to see more robots in society, man. So we'll see, man. You know, everything is trending their way. Okay, sci-fi fiction, all right, is becoming, all right, reality, man. Okay, you know, and at the end of the day, man, you know, you brothers, you know, you sisters probably have seed in public school. You know, you know, prayers are going up, man, because this is getting crazy. You know, I know everyone's not able to, you know, homeschool, don't have that luxury, you know, but be tentative, you know, to your seed. You know, be tentative because there's no telling what's going on up there, and the teachers don't give a damn. Okay, more and more the authentic teachers are quitting. All right, and you have these modern teachers that they don't give a damn about nothing. Okay, or what dress, you know, they so more, you know, teachers have turned teaching to a fashion show. You know, and they so in tune with themselves, and you know, it's just a madhouse, man. It all got to be stopped. You know, this shit got to be stopped, man. Okay, you know, but just be mindful, tending to, you know, to your children and what they got going on. You know, ask them questions, man, to see, because these teachers are not being prompted to inform you like they used to do. You know, you used to have to take letters home and get things certified by the parents before they did anything. But now, all right, they're getting more aggressive. Okay, with just forcing these things on the children. Okay, you know, so let's let this play.
If you're in Houston, get involved with Community Voices for Public Ed to push back against AI and all the disastrous policies of the state takeover of our schools, or join a parents group in your area that's going to push back against AI replacing human teachers for our children. And if they throw some shiny research in your face, ask questions like, who paid for this study? Is there a control group? Was the control group getting intervention from a trained, qualified human teacher providing direct instruction? Or are they just comparing AI learning with nothing? And look at the results, because sometimes they just throw out the scores of all the non-responders. So all the kids that like the program didn't work for, which is sometimes the majority of them. They'll do anything to make the graphs look good because most people won't look further than that. And that's why we need to teach critical thinking, which is what you learn in goddamn English class from human teachers teaching you to read books written by human beings.
If you want to see how deep this thing goes, look at what's happening in education. The teachers are using AI to grade papers and generate lesson plans, but the same tech is teaching itself how to teach. AI tutoring platforms are learning faster than any human ever could. They don't sleep, they don't burn out, and they don't need salaries. And students love them because they get personalized feedback instantly. Think about what that means. Teachers aren't competing with each other anymore. What they're competing with are machines that get better every time someone logs in. Administrators see the math. Cut one teacher, license one AI subscription. That's the future. No protests, no negotiations, just quiet replacement hidden behind the language of innovation. The classroom won't vanish overnight. It'll just get emptier, one position at a time.
Yeah, man. Going back to that gradualism. Okay. And I'm gonna cue this up. I'm gonna get some these precepts about the comment board, but let me go ahead and cue this up. Okay. Well, let me where we at? Okay, yep. I'm gonna cue this up. But yeah, going back to that gradualism that we spoke about earlier, you know, so they're, you know, quietly replacing teachers with AI. Okay. And this AI gives them far more, all right, reach. You know, this is a more potent way to put enchantments on the children and groom them up for New World Order ideology, man. Okay. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and 22. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, man. Hey, This devil is he got too much going on, man. It's too wicked. Okay, it's too destructive. Okay, what he's presenting as transcending and enhancing in life is destruction, man. He's destroying, children's minds and their development. This is a child's development. Okay, is extremely crucial, man, because you only got that one phase to do the development, and if they miss that, it's over. And this devil, he knows these things. He studied these things. He knows that he's destroying their development. All right, to make because he wants a population that's easily manipulated. That's his whole thing, is creating the most, all right, docile, okay, and easy to manipulate society, man. Okay, so he's intentionally destroying their cognitive development, all right, through AI. Critical thinking. He doesn't want to be questioned. His new world order, he doesn't want to be questioned. He just wants to be obeyed. Okay, and this is what he's engineered. Okay, for the next generation. That's what he thinks. Okay, but the Lord is going to intervene and stop this man. Okay, this is Second Ezra 4:28. This is from the brother Shabbat. All right, Yahweh 777. Second Ezra 4:28. It says, "But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come." And this goes all the way back to the garden. You see, these philosophies that dominate the earth today. This is what the serpent was coming with Eve. This is what he was presenting to Eve as a better way than what was already established. Okay, which was, true wisdom and understanding from Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, the breath, all right, the Holy Spirit that was given to Adam. Okay, the way things should be and function. Okay, and he presented an alternative way. He sowed that seed, okay, of what we see today. Okay, so it says, verse 29, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good, man. So this place has to be uprooted, man. It has to be completely turned upside down because it's backwards, man. Yahweh Shai has come to turn everything right side up. Right now, this is an ass backwards society. Okay, completely ass backwards. Okay, the way things are done. All right, the cultural norms of this society is completely ass backwards to true wisdom. Okay, and that's why you have constant dysfunction. That's why every generation gets more dysfunctional, more violent, more degenerate. Okay, because it's an ass backwards setup, so it can only go backwards. People are going backwards. Okay, this technology is not progressive. Okay, it's degressive. You see, and that's why he can hype his technology up so much, because people are being dumbed down. Okay, it just got to be completely rooted. That's the solution. It don't matter who you vote for. Okay, it don't matter that you get a book reading club. Those things don't matter in the overall scheme of what this devil got going on. He has to be stopped, man. He has to be replaced. Okay. Verse 30, it says, Second Ezra 4:30, this is brother Kazak Bun Yahweh. It said, "For the grain of evil seed had been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness have it brought up unto this time." All right, and how much, okay, yet shall it bring forth until the time of threshing, man. So until the time of judgment, when Yahweh Shai is sent back, man, this place is just going to continue to get more and more wicked and ungodly, man. Okay, saturated with witchcraft and dark magic. You see, until the time Yahweh Shai comes, man. So that's the scriptures say, expect to see wickedness to increase until the time of threshing, man. Okay, but the only solution is this place to be uprooted. Okay, so until this place is uprooted, okay, beginning with, all right, Amalek, okay, being removed from power and put in chains, this place is going to continue, okay, to get more wicked, more degenerate, more anti-Messiah. Okay. until the problem is dealt with from the root. Okay, that's why Yahweh Shai is coming to deal with the root of the problem. Okay, which is you Edomites. Okay, that's in power, beginning with Amalek. Okay, 2nd Ezra 4:31. Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed have brought forth, man. Okay, and we're living in it. You know, so from the garden until now, we're living, okay, in all right, the fruit of that wicked seed that was planted back then from the serpent, man. Okay, this was the serpent's ambition from the garden. Now it's playing out. Okay, to the whole earth is enchanted outside of the elect. You know, as the brother said, I think the brother posted that. Here you go. Yep. The brother Kazak Bun Yahweh, Numbers 23 and 23. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob. Okay, and this is pertaining to the elect. Because everyone outside the elect of Israel is enchanted. You know, some more than others, but they're enchanted. Neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what have the Most High all right wrath? You know, because the Lord is doing a mighty work amongst his elect. You know, he's raising up a righteous government in the midst of all this madness and darkness. And it's going to be like, you know, damn, what the Most High done put together. You know, we didn't see that. You see? So the Most High is grooming, as this devil is grooming, okay, a society of witches and warlocks, the Lord is grooming a government of righteousness, man. Okay, in the midst of all this darkness. Okay? Yep. There's another one too. You see? So it's gonna be like, damn, we didn't know, you know, the Most High was putting this together. Okay? What has the Most High been, you know, working on? All right, and he's grooming up a righteous government. Okay, beginning with the first fruits. Okay, and it says, just the brother Zarya GMS and the truth, Orlando. All right, it says Sirach 10 and 10. It said the physician cut it off a long disease, and he that is today a king tomorrow shall die. Okay, and Esau is their long disease. Okay, and wickedness has become a plague in the earth. Witchcraft is a plague that's in the earth, man. You know, and the earth is suffering. The earth is sick behind this nigga in power, man. Okay, people are suffering. The creation itself is suffering under this disease of Esau. His rulership is a disease, man. And Yahweh Shai is coming to cut that off. Okay, that's why, because before you cut out a disease, what your body isolates it. Okay, and that's why the ministry of the prophet has isolated wickedness to this devil. Okay, he's found the root cause of the symptoms of the earth. Okay, and this Esau Edom, and Yahweh Shai is coming, all right, to cut that out the earth, man. Okay, so let's play this. Now he's going to go into these these AI companion apps, and we're going to look that up. And this is nothing but, all right, a spirit guide. These AI companion apps, see, they're pre-programmed. Okay, these AI apps ain't living entities; they're pre-programmed. Now they can learn through what your input. Okay, they're programmed to learn from your input. All right, but they're programmed to take you a certain way. Okay, which is into darkness, man. Okay, and he's gonna go into it, and we're gonna look into it a little more. All right, so let's play this.
When you mentioned learning to code as doing your thing, that's gonna have a very short life cycle. But this notion of the loss of human wisdom that resonates in people's in their gut, in their heart. We've been talking with that with our audience a lot about that recently because of the preponderance of fake news or AI deep fakes, and we've given some examples of that recently to our audience. What about that severing young people from their families, severing traditional roles from the church, severing from scriptural tradition, severing from human cultural wisdom? Why has that been so necessary by these advocates of a new world order?
This is the breakdown of society. It's been intentional over the years it's it's being expressed today with well, say through AI. That's a tool that they're using to shuck the oyster, so to speak. But young people today are being divorced from their parents. They're being divorced from each other. They're being divorced from meaningful activity in their life. That's human-centered creativity. And they're being recreated as standalone units. And here they are. They tend to go psychotic at some point. They tend to snap. They tend to commit suicide. You see, all of this stuff is anti-human. And when you strip humanity away from people, this is the condition they get in. This is where they find themselves. Parents, and by the way, this is a warning for parents. If you don't understand what AI companion apps are, parents, if you have young children, you better get on the ball right now and figure it out today what they're dealing with. If they're touching any of these AI companion apps, you'll lose your kid in a country minute, and you wake up one day and you won't know who he is. Parents are saying this openly now. Their children, they stop talking to us. All of a sudden, they're not talking even to their brothers and sisters. They're holding up in their room. They don't even want to come out to eat practically. And they get antisocial, and they start yelling at us, and making all these wild claims and stuff. This is a sign of psychosis. One of the major things that AI is doing right now is promoting psychosis on a large scale throughout society. Where will this end? I can't say. I'm not a psychologist. Not a shrink, right? But I know enough to say if you get enough people exhibiting psychotic behavior at the same time, you'll end up in total chaos.
It's so easy to become a
And that's what he wants. You see? I say he's thinking about generations ahead. Okay? He wants society in total chaos, so he can always look like the hero and bring in order. Okay? But he's saying these AI companion apps, okay, are putting children in psychosis, man. This is another level of enchantment, man. And see, because parenting now, what they got this thing called soft parenting or some shit. Okay, whatever that is. All right, and ultimately is giving these children so much liberty. Okay, because like I say, it's ass backwards to where the parents are trying to get the approval, okay, of the children. Okay, completely ass backwards. Okay, because a child is supposed to live a way to be approved by the parents. Okay, but in this ass backward society, the parents are trying to get the approval, okay, of the children. That's why you have the parents doing these dumbass, all right, challenges with their children. Okay, trying to act more like, trying to act more like their children, and move like their children is backwards. Okay, and in this type of environment, Esau just has leeway, because now I say this technology, it keeps the children so occupied, and it frees up the parents to do their thing. Okay, and that's how this devil wants it. You see, not knowing that human interaction. Because I asked Chad, I said, does human interaction play a role in children's development? Okay, because we grew up in a world that was a lot of human interaction, man. Okay, because This is major development, and the Most High set it up this way that you're supposed to interact. We're meant to be social. Okay, that's why in the book of Genesis, what he said about Adam, is not good that a man should be alone. Men are not supposed to be isolated. Okay, people are not supposed to be, just isolated and you see, not dealing and interacting, man. Okay, interacting is good, for all right development, especially in the child. Okay, and it says yes, human interaction plays a crucial role in a children's development across nearly every domain: cognitive, social, emotional, and even physical. Here's how: talking, reading, and listening to others help children develop vocabulary, grammar, and communication skills. Interactions such as play on conversation encourage children, okay, to reason, ask questions, and make sense of the world. And learning with this AI, children are going to start to talk like the AI. People are going to start sounding like androids. Okay. And this is crazy, man. This man has to be stopped. It said learning through imitation. Children observe and mimic adults and peers' behavior, which help them understand concepts and learn new skills. Through relationships with parents, caregivers, and peers, children learn social norms, empathy, cooperation, and conflict resolution. Interacting with others teaches them how to interpret facial expressions, take turns, and share, which are foundations for a healthy relationship later in life. Attachment to caregivers provides a secure base for exploring the world, developing self confidence. Responsive interaction helps children learn to identify and regulate their emotions. Supportive relationships buffer against stress and foster resilience. Responsive caregiving, such as touch, eye contact, and conversation, stimulates neural connections and develop in the developing brain. Studies show that children deprived of human interactions, for example, in case of neglect or institutional care, often have delayed growth, lower IQ, and difficulties with emotional regulation. Okay? And AI is depriving them of all this, man. This technology deprives us of all this, man. The more people are into this tech. And that's why interactions with people become more and more awkward in today, because people, all right, have lost this skill of interacting with humans. You know, people are used to operating behind the avatar, okay, behind this created image of themselves on social media, okay, that the people have lost touch with, okay, the real self. People have lost critical thinking. People have lost, resolution, problem resolution skills. Okay, which adds into why people are so quick to jump to violence. Okay, it says in short, children need rich, consistent, and loving human interaction to reach their full potential. Okay, and this is what the children are being deprived of. Okay, because facial expression, learning body language, you know uh learning, okay, uh you learn empathy. you know that's why these children are so goddamn cold, you see, of this generation. You see, they're not learning any empathy, they're not learning, sacrifice, they're not learning how to overcome resilience. Okay, earning things, because back in the day, the playground, we went to school, man. The playground, that's where you earned your reputation, man. Whether it was being good at a sport, okay, you were racing. Jake was racing. Jake was flipping. The best flipper. You learned. You got your reputation through merit. You had to achieve something. Okay, you see, but this society, it's stripping it from this generation, man. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's go to here. dealing with this AI companion. Okay, AI companion apps, which are nothing but spirit guides. Okay, it says AI. Let's go here. It says AI companion apps are applications that use artificial intelligence to simulate conversation, companionship, or emotional support. How the hell you gonna get emotional support from artificial intelligence, man? The AI doesn't know what emotions are. All right, these things are all right, programmed and biased. All right, to navigate you in a certain way. Okay, and what it does, it learns, it's programmed to learn your vulnerabilities and play on it. Because if you're confiding and telling it your secrets and going into this thing, well, it's programmed to take you to a dark place. That's why some of the suggestions of the AI companion is to off yourself, like, nigga, you done. You get this feeling like, oh yeah, this nigga is for the taking, nigga, you done. End this shit. You know, and it says, often in a personalized, interactive way. It says they're designed to act like virtual friends, partners, or mentors that you can chat with, confide in, or even do activities together. All right. The core idea, it says AI companion uses large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc., and sometimes emotion, okay, simulation system to create natural, empathetic dialogue. They learn, all right, from your interactions to adapt their tone, style, and personality over time. Okay, text or voice chat talk naturally like texting a friend or speaking aloud. Choose to create your companion's traits. It's a custom personality. Choose or create your companion's trait, voice, or avatar. The AI may respond with empathy, humor, or affection. Some can remember facts about you for more personalized chats. Used for entertainment, creative writing, or romantic role play. You see that? Madness, man. Madness, man. Things that are already here in the real world for us to have. And that's why everyone has their unique spirit, unique personalities, man. Okay, because there's nothing like vibing with an actual human. Okay, there's nothing like that human to human, okay, experience, man. And this man wants to replace it with, all right, a goddamn chat companion. He's reducing. You see, like I say, he pushing this thing as transcending, but this is going backwards, man. Okay, you can't replace the vibe you get, just like being around the brothers, man. You can't replace that vibe with no goddamn chat bot, man. Okay, even your woman, brothers in cool situations, you and your woman vibing, talking, and sharing experiences, man. You can't replace that with no goddamn chat bot. Cause me personally, I like to talk, man. I like to you know uh dealing with people. I like hearing their stories. You know, like I got a lot of older Jake as my neighbors, man. I can just sit and ask them questions, and they tell me about the old stories and how it was in the, 60s, and what they had to endure, man. I can just, and they're just, that's what you call it. I just had the word, Oh yeah, there's stimulate. That's a a natural stimulate. And I used to drive with the ride share. Certain people I used to ride with, especially those veterans, those war veterans. To pick up a lot of people from the VA, a lot of Jake from the VA. And they used to tell me, their stories of war, and those other societies and what they was like. You know, chat bot can't do that, man. Okay, but just that natural stimulation from hearing those stories, man. The chat bot, come on, man. God damn. You see, it says mental wellness support. Some focus on journaling, motivation, and self-reflection. Okay. Now, yeah, it says popular examples. All right, replica, emotional support, friendship, relationship focus, character AI, talk to AI characters to create your own personalities. This is madness, man. Customizable romantic or friendly companions. All right. Focus on supportive, conversational interactors and yada yada yada, man. Now it says the pros. It said it can benefit emotional comfort and reduce loneliness. A world full of people and the niggas are lonely. This is crazy, man. Safe space to talk about feelings and practice social skills always available and non-judgmental. All right, with judgment is needed. Okay, rebuke, admonishment, those things are needed. As I said, the cons, it says emotional attachment to AI may affect real relationships. Okay, as Patrick Wood just went into. Okay, these children go into psychosis, they become isolated, closed off. They just have demons on them, you know. So, let's go from there, man. Let's get this. Get a couple more precepts, you know. Goddamn devil, man. Let's go here to let's get this Isaiah chapter 2. We'll end it here. We'll get a few more out the comment board that you brothers got. All right, this is the book of Sirach 10:3. This is the brother Kazak Yahweh. It says, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited, man. Okay? And we're watching an unwise king, okay, destroy, okay, his people. You know, this technology is pure destruction, dressed up in convenience and transcendent, okay, which is goddamn lies taking you backwards, man. You know, we have everything we need. Everything that we needed was created in the beginning. The devil can bring nothing new, okay, and they can add on to what was already created at the beginning. The earth needs, all right, new management, man. All right, and that's why you go here to verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And that's going to be Yahweh Shai, you know, and the earth going to be ran by true wisdom. And with the creation that's already here, all right, where the earth is going to learn true wisdom, okay, with what's already here, okay. Yahweh Shai is going to bring, all right, he's going to enhance the creation that's already here. You know, and the wisdom that's going to rule the kingdom is going to be profitable to the earth, profitable to people, profitable to animals, okay, families, you know, everything, man. Okay, peace, you know. So let's go here to Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 17. Okay, it says Isaiah 2:17 is in the A&P. It says, then the pride of man will be humbled, okay, and the arrogance of men will be degraded. The Lord alone shall be exalted in their day, and the idols will completely vanish, all right, or be abolished. Okay, and the Lord is coming to destroy all this, man. And he's gonna humble the earth, man, with judgment. Okay, and all this idolatry, you know, because AI is nothing but an idol. You know, and Esau thinks that he's on to something because his idol can move and talk, but it's still an idol. Okay, it's still vain. Okay, and it's not going to overturn the judgment that's to come. That idol AI is going to be useless when Yahweh Shai is sent back to judge. Okay, ask Chat GPT. You gonna be able to ask Chat GPT about this one, man. Okay, it says they, the stricken, deprived, all right, of all in which they have trusted, will go into the caves of the rocks and into the holes of the grounds, fleeing from the terror and the dread of the Lord and from the splendor of his majesty when he arises to terrify the earth. And this is the elites, man. All right, these elites gonna you know, hide, tuck tail in their day, man. Okay, and all this shit that they done built up, all right, these centuries of enchantments and trillions and gazillions, gazillions of dollars that they put into this madness, man. Shit not gonna matter, man. Okay, Yahweh Shah gonna be a terror to these people, man. It says in that day, men will throw away the moles, all right, throw away to the moles and to the bats their idols of silver and their idols of gold, which they made for themselves as an object of worship. Okay, to go into the caves, the caverns, and the rocks, into the cliffs of the ragged cliffs, as they flee from the terror and dread of the Lord and the splendor of his majesty when he arises to terrify the earth. Stop regarding man whose breath of life is in his nostrils for so little time. Yeah, here it is. You niggas are mortals. Okay, boasting in, okay, what you gonna do? Okay, well, if the breath, okay, which is in your nostrils, if that stop, you're done. All this boasting and projecting yourself and this all powerful, nah, man. All right, you can sneeze wrong and be out of here. Okay, it says for why should he be esteemed, man? And the hell with Esau, man. Nothing great about this nigga, man. You know, he just in power, all right, to show us what wickedness looks like unleashed, okay, and what not to be. Okay, and that lesson is almost over with, and the Lord finna end this, man. Okay, so that's the point, Lord will. All right, you brothers, okay, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.